Hey, no, guys, man, already been a great day. I hope you guys are having a great time. I hope that this is going to be the greatest week of your life. I don't know about you, but like, camp is a very special place to me. And later on, I'm going to kind of share a little bit of my story about where my journey began and why camp is so special. But before we do that, man, I just need to give a quick shout out real quick. How many first time campers or first time to Sparks are here today? This is your very first time to ever be at Sparks. Dang. Dude, look at all these first timers, man. Welcome. So excited to have you here. Now, how many of y'all, I'm back and I'm excited to be back? Oh, yeah, baby. Okay. Well, hey, man, we got some incredible speakers lined up for you this week. I am so excited for you guys to be able to hear from a guy that I prefer. He'd probably get mad if I called him this, but to me, this dude is like the godfather of youth ministry. Scotty Gibbons will be here tomorrow night. And then Wednesday and Thursday, another great friend of mine, Joseph Kellogg, legend in youth ministry, to bring you guys the Word of God to help usher in life change for you this very week. Man, the one thing I love about camp is that this is a place, honestly, I've said it before, that in moments, everything can change. But before we talk about camp and how special it is, man, I want to show you guys a few places. Like, how many of y'all like to go places where you get to relax? Like, it's nice, it's chill, it's cool, the tone is just right, the temperature's just right, all that stuff. Now, how many of y'all like to go to places where you get to cut loose and be crazy? Yeah. Okay, so how many of y'all like to go places where, you know what, I don't like people and I need to be alone, okay? How many of y'all like to go places where you feel loved? A lot of us. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to show you guys some pictures up on the screen. And if you have ever been to a place like this or you want to go to a place like this, just give me a shout. Get excited. You've been there, you wanted to go to a place like this. The beach, man. Who doesn't want to go to the beach? I mean, the ocean, the sand, the weather. Bless God. Like, one of my favorite things to do, I love to go on cruises, man. That is like the best way to vacation. All right, let me show you guys. Let's see the next pic. Camping. How many of y'all like to go camping? Now, all right, this isn't really camping, okay? This isn't really camping. This is like you go to camp, you get to stay in a cabin. That's like I wouldn't say roughing it, but that's a little more roughing it than what we're doing right here. How many people you like to go camping? You like to sleep in tents and on hard grounds? Yeah, God bless you people. Okay, that's not me. Anyway, let me see the next pic. Disney World. The happiest place on earth. Man. Hey, how many of y'all have actually been to Disney World in here? A few of y'all? So I'm actually pretty pumped. Like, when I was growing up, we didn't have money to do a lot of things, but I'm so excited because this summer, my son, Lincoln, he's 5, and my wife and I get to take him to Disney World for the very first time, dude. It's going to be awesome. So we're excited. Okay, let me see the next pic. Yeah! Chesapeake Energy Arena. Got any Thunder fans in the house? A few of y'all? Okay, real quick. On the count of 3, I want you guys to shout who's going to win the finals, okay? All right. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I kind of got a cross between the I couldn't really tell if it was Raptors or Warriors. Okay. If you think it's the Raptors, let me hear you. Raptors. If you think it's the Warriors, let me hear you. Oh, man. It's kind of a, man, the verdict's still out on that one. Okay, let me see the next picture right here. Grandma's house. You know what's crazy? That's not my grandma. I don't know who that woman is at all. I just thought, that there's a grandma chilling in the kitchen, because you all know when we go to grandma's house, you get that good food, you know what I'm saying? And so, grandma's house, okay, let me see another pic right now. Right there, baby. Sparks, Oklahoma. Sparks, 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 man. Incredible place. Again, man, we all know that, guys, if you've ever experienced a week of camp here at Sparks, again, we know that it could be one of the most life-changing experiences in our life. It can be one of the most monumental experiences in life where literally everything can change. It's a special place. It's a place where we find God. It's a place where we create memories. It's a place where we get to be in His presence. It's a place where we get to set aside all distractions, forget about what's going on at home, forget about all the garbage, all the things that we want to forget about, and just simply focus in on God. That's the beauty of this place. And for me, you know, it started way back in Turner Falls. I was a high school kid like a lot of you, and God just did, and that's the thing, like how many seniors, and like you just graduated, all my seniors who just graduated. It was the year of my graduation, like 2 weeks after graduation, where the only explanation I have is God radically transformed my life and everything changed. And I'm going to get into that just a little bit later and talk about my journey of how I got here and where I am today. But man, I know that there's some of us in here tonight, and for some of us, it was a struggle to get here. There's some of us in here tonight that we don't even want to be here. And that's cool. Guess what? I'm still glad you're here. And guess what? I can speak for your youth pastor or your youth leader, and they're still glad you're here too. And so I want you guys to understand something tonight. I'm not on this stage tonight to waste time, okay? In fact, I'm the kind of person, like, my leadership style is if I invite somebody to a meeting, or if I tell you we need to talk about something, we're getting in, we're getting out, we're getting on with life. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to waste people's time, so I'm not going to be here to waste your time tonight, okay? If that's cool, say yeah. Cool, we're all in agreement. So I don't want to waste anybody's time, but I want to speak to some very special people in the audience tonight. And listen to me, I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm not trying to make you feel like you shouldn't be here, because you should be. Because I honestly do believe that everybody that is in this room tonight, you are not here by accident. You have an appointment with God this week, okay? So whether you believe it or not, you're here for a reason. But there are some of you in this room tonight that someone paid your way to get here. And I'm not just talking $50 or $10, like someone paid the full amount for you to come to camp this week. And I will not let you waste their time or their investment, and so you shouldn't either. You should make the most of every moment that you get this week, because someone invested into your future. And I don't know if you understand the weight of that, but that's a pretty strong investment. And I can speak into that tonight because someone invested in my future when I was a high school senior and paid my way to camp, and the rest is history. But again, there may be some of us in here tonight that, man, it's been a struggle. And maybe your youth pastor or your youth leader or you yourself, you moved heaven and earth. You adjusted your schedule in so many ways because you knew and they knew that you needed to be here tonight. So we're going to make the most of it. One of the greatest things about camp is we know that the presence of God is in this place. We know that there have been many leaders who have gone before us and believed in this place right here, all the way back to Turner Falls. We have literally pioneers among us, pioneers in our state, that it all started with them at youth camp. And their lives were radically transformed at youth camp. And I know this, a lot of these leaders that are in this place tonight, they're here with you because youth camp did something inside of them when they were your age. And now they get the opportunity to give back. So that's why they're here tonight. So again, I tell you, don't waste their time. And most importantly, don't waste your time, because we don't want to waste time here. I mean, this is an opportunity that we don't know if we'll ever get again. And we only get 1 week. But sometimes that statement right there makes me mad, because I feel like we come to camp because we say things like this, like, man, I can't wait to go to camp. I can't wait to go to camp because, I get to get close to God again. Why do we have to be close to God only at camp? And I know this kind of sounds like a Thursday night message, a closing message, but man, I just want to prime the pump right now. Why do we have to come here to get close to God? Why does it feel like, that I'm only going to pray, I'm only going to do all these spiritual things when I'm at Sparks? And I want to challenge you with that thought tonight. But again, this is a special place. This is a place where God can do something in your life if you let him. Again, it goes back to what I said in that scripture in James. If you will draw near to him, he will draw near to you. So tonight, I'm going to tell you guys about a story in the Bible, about a man in the Bible by the name of Jacob. Everybody say Jacob. Now, some of you have heard of Jacob. Some of you may have not heard of Jacob. But wherever you're at, I feel like there are people in this room that can totally relate to Jacob in his journey and the things that he's been through. And maybe in some way, like, we've repeated the same things or done the same things that Jacob did. But I think somewhere along the way, we can relate to Jacob. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some of us in here, we have siblings that we really don't get along with. And thank God that they're at home and we're here this week. You know what I'm saying? That's okay. You can laugh at that. It's true, I mean, if I'm being really honest, when you read the story of Jacob and his brother Esau, Esau was an idiot. You know what I'm saying? He was dumb. I mean, the things that he traded for food. I mean, he traded everything that he was going to receive for a bowl of lentil soup. I mean, at least let it be turkey chili or something like that, man. I mean, good stuff, not like, have you guys ever had lentil soup? It's disgusting. Okay, anyway, some of you are like, I like that stuff. Do I got like any kale chip eaters in the house? Like, you guys like kale chips? Like, you like being healthy? Kale chips are awesome if you've never had potato chips before, but they're not awesome. Anyway, no, I'm getting off track. But we all can relate to Jacob in some way. So maybe we have some sort of like jaded relationship with our sibling. Or maybe some of us in here, we don't have that great of a relationship with our mom, or that great of a relationship with our dad. And it's less than perfect. Or maybe some of us are in here and we live in a home where, like, you know what, me and mom are cool, but me and dad not so much, or vice versa. Me and dad are cool, but me and mom aren't cool. And what you see in the story of Jacob is there's like just this division in their house. And maybe you guys have that same sort of division in your home, or maybe you come from a divorced home, and the divorce that your parents went through was, it was just ugly. And like now you're in a place where you're having to pick or choose mom or dad, and mom and dad like keep doing all these different things to bribe you to make you love them more, and it's crazy. Maybe some of us can relate with that. Maybe some of us, we've done things that we regret, or we've done things to hurt those that we love. But all the things that Jacob did, when you look back to his story, and I want to encourage you to really take the time to read that this week. It's, you see a guy that lied, cheated, connived, did all these horrible things. But when you read that and you see the things that he did to receive the blessing from his father, what I see is there was a guy that wanted attention from his father so bad that he was willing to be somebody else. And maybe some of us are in here tonight and you want the attention of a girl, or you want the attention of a guy, and you're willing to get it so bad that you're willing to be somebody else. I don't know where you're at tonight. I don't know what you're dealing with. But again, camp is a place where all of that can change. But don't let it stop here. Don't let this be the only place where you feel like you can be close to God. We can go after him whenever we want. So tonight, again, I don't know where you are. I don't know what you're dealing with, but somewhere along the way, I think a lot of us can relate to Jacob. So tonight, I'm going to read just a few passages of Scripture to you guys, and it's found in Genesis chapter 28. I'm going to read just for a little bit, and you'll see me stop in different places, but, you know, I want this Scripture to kind of get to you guys, and I want you to hear this so you can understand some of the things that Jacob has gone through, and just to kind of give you a little perspective of what's going on right now. So Jacob has done all these crazy things. He's lied, he's cheated, he's hurt his family, he's stolen from his own brother, he's lied to his father and done all these crazy things, and now he's on the run. And so maybe some of us are in here, we're on the run too, not in a bad way from the law or anything like that, but we're running from something that we know God has for us, and we're afraid to accept it because we feel like it might change everything. We feel like that we might have to give up friends, and we don't want to do that. And we feel like that we may have to give up a certain lifestyle that we think is fun, but we know down in our heart of hearts, in our deepest thoughts, that if we continue to stay in this lifestyle that we're in, it's just going to be toxic for us and only end badly. So maybe we're running from something like that. And for the risk of sounding cliche, maybe some of us are literally running from God. In the way of, we know that things need to change in our life, or maybe there's some people in this room, and I know I'm talking to some students tonight, some leaders tonight, some student leaders, that you know full and well that God is calling you into a life of full-time ministry, and it scares you to death. And that's okay. I was scared too, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But again, you got Jacob who's on the run. But in the midst of all of it, God was still in the mix of it. God still had a plan. And I'm here to tell you tonight that it doesn't matter where you go, what you say, what you do, God still has a plan for your life too, okay? He still has a purpose for you. He still wants to use you. So no matter how bad you think you are or how undeserving you feel like you are of his love, he still has a plan for your life. If you believe that, say yeah. Okay, if you believe that, say yeah. Okay, so again, Genesis chapter 28, and we're going to read, start in verses 10, where it says this. Meanwhile, Jacob left Beersheba and traveled to Haran. At sundown, he arrived at a good place to set up camp and stopped there for the night. Jacob found a stone to rest his head against and laid down to go to sleep. As he slept, he dreamed of a stairway that reached from the earth up to heaven, and he saw angels of God going up and down the stairway. At the top of the stairway stood the Lord. He said, I am the Lord, the God of your grandfather Abraham, the God of your father Isaac. The ground you are laying on belongs to you. I'm giving it to you. Excuse me. I'm giving it to you. I lost my spot. Sorry, guys. I'm giving it to you and your descendants. Your descendants will be as numerous as the dust of the earth. They will spread in all directions, to the west and to the east, and to the north and to the south. And the families of the earth will be blessed through you and your descendants. What's more is I am with you, and I will protect you wherever you go. One day I will bring you back to this land, and I will not leave you until I have finished giving you everything that I have promised you. Then Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, surely the Lord is in this place, and I wasn't even aware of it. But also he was afraid and said, what an awesome place this is. It is none other than the house of God, the very gateway to heaven. I bring up this very thing right here because just like Jacob, God is taking you to a place where you can experience the same thing that he experienced, the presence of God. And some of us are in this place tonight not realizing that the presence of God is right here in this place, and we're not even aware of it. We're so distracted by everything that's going on at home. We're so distracted by all the guys and girls and all the competition and all, what are we going to do after service tonight, that we forget that the very presence of God is right here in this place. Again, I tell you this, I'm not here to waste any time, so you shouldn't waste time either. Make the most of what you have here tonight. But understand, just like Jacob, some of you may be here for the very first time tonight, and camp is the place where you find the presence of God. Maybe some of you have never experienced that before. Well, this is your opportunity to experience that, because there's things that we learn about camp. And tonight, I titled my message, Back to Camp, because we love going back to camp. Some of us in here, we've never been here before, but I can guarantee you this. After this week, things are going to be so amazing that next year you are just going to beg to come back. I can guarantee that, because there's just something about this place that's special. And we have special moments here where we make memories. And we saw the same thing happen in Jacob's life. And I guarantee you this, if you give God a chance this week, the same thing will happen in your life as well. But you got to be willing to take that first step, young people. You got to be willing to take the time and just say, God, I don't know what this looks like. I mean, raising my hands, it's not really my thing. I don't know what I'm really supposed to be doing, but I'm going to give it a chance. And I'm going to take the opportunity to realize and open up my mind and open up my heart to the fact that your presence is in this place. And you can experience that presence. Jacob had his moment where he found God. Jacob had his moment where he received promises from God. And that could be the same thing that you receive this very week. Promises from God. Promises that your life will change if you give your life to Him. Promises that everything will be different once you go home, but you have to be willing to take that first step. But those promises will come true. Because that's the one thing God will never do, is ever go back on His word. That's the one thing that's cool about God, is even in the midst of everything that we do wrong, even in the midst of everything that we mess up on, He's still for us. Wow, I don't know if you understand the magnitude of that. Because here's the thing, I've done very messed up things in this life. I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of. I've done a lot of things that I wish I could take back, but God still used me. God still blessed me. God still carried me through things, even when I didn't deserve it. And I know a lot of us in here tonight, we feel so unworthy of that love that God has for us. But listen to me, young people. He's never considered you worthless. I think a lot of times we feel like we're worthless because we let those bad things, that sin, become our identity. And we start believing lies from people. We start believing the names that they call us. But here I tell you again, the presence of God is in this place, and you may not even know it. So open up your hearts, open up your minds to what it is that God has for you. Now, there's a few things that I want to give you guys tonight. There's a few points. I want you to write these down. I love this line. I forget who said it. It's not my own, but one thing you got to realize is this. Note takers are history makers. You know what I'm saying? You want to make history tonight? You want your life to change? You want your life to be better? Then write something down, okay? All right. I only got a few claps there, but that's okay, all right? There's only a few people that really want Jesus. I'm just joking. Anyway, all right. Thank you for the pity cheers. I appreciate it. No. Camp is a special place. And we go back to camp. Again, there's some of us in this room tonight. We're here for the very first time. And there's some of us in this room tonight. We're excited to be back. We can't wait to see what this week is going to be like. Man, we're open to so many great things. And we have the mentality of expectancy, of doing great things, allowing God to do great things in our life. But I want to remind you of a few things. Just like, so we're going to read some scripture later on in Genesis chapter 35, where Jacob, he had that moment in chapter 28 where he experienced the presence of God and received all these promises. But he went back to that place. You could say he went back to camp, to his Bethel. Everybody say Bethel. Bethel is the place that Jacob went to. Bethel is the place that God took him to. Even when he was on the run. Even in all the nonsense that he was involved in, he went to this place to find God. And I know a lot of us in here, we need God to do something in our life. So, hey, again, come with that attitude of expectation this week. Because I guarantee you this, Scotty Gibbons, Joseph Kellogg, they're going to bring the house down, all right? I'm not even playing, dude. I hope y'all are ready to hear from some great preachers this week. So anyway, we go back to camp. We go back to camp because it's a place to remember. How many of y'all, you have some of your greatest memories right here at camp? I'm talking leaders, I'm talking students who have been here before. I know there's some new people in this place tonight, and that's okay, but we go back to this place because it's a place to remember. We like coming back to this place because we remember some of the incredible things that God did in our lives. We come back to this place because some of us are in this room tonight and we're in full-time ministry, or we're doing amazing things, or we've been blessed with an amazing job because it was in this moment right here where we submitted our life completely to the Lord. Now, again, you kind of heard me tell my story just a little bit. I was a kid that went to Turner Falls Youth Camp that someone paid my way, and I didn't want to go. But I guess I had a little bit of a conscience, and I felt guilty because someone spent money on me, so I felt like I should have. But she was pretty pushy and kind of made me go. You guys, anybody been pushed into coming tonight? That's okay. God still can do something in you. But I was one of those kids that, like, man, I was dating this girl at church. Anybody dating a girl from church? You know, man, I know I'm speaking to somebody tonight. I was dating this girl from church, okay? This is my senior year of high school. I'm 18 years old. I'm dating for this girl from church, and this is like the first church girl I've ever dated, okay? Normally, I would date, yeah, those other, anyway. But yeah, this was a church girl. And so, like, I liked her. I thought she was cute. So I'm like, hey, you know, I guess I'll go to church with you. I mean, if you're going to be there, then I guess I'll be there. And so I went to church with her. And I remember the first time I went to this church, there was this crazy youth pastor there. And there was not only a crazy youth pastor that, like, I just loved, and I thought, this guy's the coolest guy in the world. I've never seen a youth pastor who's cool like this. But there was a lady there that was one of, like, the moms of the youth ministry. She was, like, everybody's mom. And it was, like, right around the time they're advertising camp. They're trying to fill spots for camp. I show up with this girl, and this mom comes up to me, and she's like, hey, 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 hey. She literally talked like that. Hey, 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 hey. Are you going to go to camp? I don't even know what camp is, you know. So and she's like, you need to go to camp. I'll tell you what, I know I don't know you that well, but I kind of knew her because I grew up playing baseball with her son. And so she's like, I will pay your deposit to go to camp, but you got to come up with the rest. Are you going to go? She didn't really give me an option to say no. So anybody else feel like that? Anyway, so she didn't give me an option to say no. And so I'm like, yeah, yeah, sure. I was lying through my teeth. And so anyway, so she pays my deposit. A few weeks go by. I don't know how this woman got my number, but she did. And so she calls me, and she's like, hey, are you coming to camp? I'm like, you know, I'm trying to think of some sort of excuse not to go. But I had nothing. You ever had that awkward moment where you literally have nothing to say? But thank God she didn't see your face, because I literally would have just been frozen, like, I don't know. But anyway, so she asked me if I was going to go, and I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll try. I was lying. I wasn't going to try. And right around during this time, me and that girl broke up. Everybody, thank you. I appreciate your sympathy. We broke up, and it's all good. And so I'm really not one going to camp now. But I found out from the lady, she's not even going to camp, so don't worry about it. I'm like, And so anyway, like, I figured, you know what? I'm never going to come back to this church anyway. Am I speaking to somebody tonight, man? Like, you broke up with somebody, you didn't come back to church. Ooh, that probably hurts. Anyway, I won't go there. Maybe I might. I don't know. Maybe I might. But things like that happen all the time. So, like, I knew that I'm not going to come back to this church ever again. But, like, I worked at a restaurant. It's a Sunday afternoon. And this lady straight up rolls up in my job. And I'm like, I was a server, and I'm greeting a table, getting a drink order. And, like, I look at this lady. We make eye contact. And I'm like, oh, my word, what is this crazy woman doing? And she, like, beelines to me. She's like, hey, are you going to camp? I'm like, girl, I am trying to make some money right now. Leave me alone, you know, like. And she's like, I got to know, because we're leaving tomorrow. So, and we got a meeting later on tonight. And what time do you get off of work? I'm like, I ain't telling you this business. Leave me alone. No, so anyway, she's like, what time are you getting off of work? I'm like, I guess 5. And she goes, okay, the meeting's at 6. You need to be there. And I'm like, so are you going to go? I'm like, I don't know what to say. And so, like, my boss, like sees her, and he's like, what's going on? And I kind of tell him. He's like, yeah, you need to go to camp. I'm like, fool, what are you trying to do here, man? Leave me alone. And so anyway, I ended up going to camp. And it was one of those moments where I just like, I had absolutely zero expectation. I didn't want anything out of it. I was just so stricken with guilt that I felt like I just needed to go chill, go do whatever. But then I showed up on the scene, and there are a lot of cute girls there. I'm just being honest, all right? So I'm scoping out the land, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, I'm going to get your number, and your number. Here we go. I know some of y'all can relate. You guys are like, man, he's straight reading my mail right now, you know? But that's how I was, man. I had absolutely no plan to go after God, no plan to answer an altar call. I was just going to go through the motions and do what I had to do just so I can call some girls, all right? That was my life, man. That's who I was in high school. That's what I did. And so that first night, like, you know, there's all these people responding to the altar call, doing all these crazy things, and I'm just sitting there like, dude, it's going to be a long week. But for whatever reason, man, the second night rolls around. And I don't know, like, I went to bed that night, and I just had this uneasy feeling. Like something wasn't right in my life. Because here's the thing, guys. When I was in high school, I gave off this facade of like, I had everything together. I had this big plan for life. I was going to make money. I didn't know how I was going to make money, but I was going to make money, okay? And so, like, no real plan in life. Nothing really going for me. And so all of a sudden, I was just having this moment where I realized that things aren't what they were. And like, and it started to think. And you ever been in a place in life where you just start to think? It's quiet, and you have nothing to do but think. That's a scary place sometimes. That's a horrible place sometimes. And so I'm having this moment, and like, dude, I wake up, the little sleep that I got that night, I wake up the next morning, and I'm just like, dude, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think. And I go to service that night, and I don't know if you guys have ever been in this place, but I had this moment, and I could swear that the preacher was talking to me. Ever been there? You ever had those moments where you feel like the youth pastor's reading your mail, or you feel like you've been at some sort of place like this at camp, and the speaker up on the stage, you're just like, what's this? Did someone tell him about what's going on in my life right now? And so this preacher's talking to me, and I could swear he pointed right at me, looked me dead in the eye. He probably did, and said, you need to change things right now and turn everything over to Jesus. And like, it was just that moment where I felt the Holy Spirit come over me, and everything changed. I ran to that altar. I didn't care, because here's the thing, guys. I was the kind of person that, like, I didn't want to like do all these different things where I felt like I was going to be embarrassed. I was cool, you know what I'm saying? And I had to let everybody know that I was cool. So like, me running up to an altar, I don't do that. That ain't my thing. And I'm the first one up there. But I didn't care. I didn't care this time because I knew that God had something for me, and everything needed to change. And so I look at a moment like that, and that's where it all started. I'm not saying life got easy for me after that, guys, because it didn't. I still made a lot of mistakes. I still had a lot of rough edges that needed to be knocked off, but I got through it. And so as the years progressed, God started to do amazing things in my life. I went back to camp the following year, and God called me into full-time ministry. I went back to the camp right after that as an RA. Then I went back as a coach. Why? Because God did something inside of my life that night that I wanted other students to experience. And I know I can speak for youth pastors tonight, and they want you to experience that same thing tonight. This is your moment. This is your Bethel. This is where we find the presence of God. So we go back to camp because it's a place where we remember. And I've seen God do amazing things in all of my students' lives too. You know, I'm going to have a youth pastor. I was a youth pastor down in Lawton for 11 years. And so, like, I'm going to have a youth pastor brag moment. Can I brag for just a minute? So, like, this band up here, those are my students. Those are the students that I have. Minus Brock, but I claim Brock too. But like the drummer and the brother and the two blonde-headed kids right over there, those were my students. That's the kind of worship that I had in my service on Wednesday nights. They were amazing, and they still are amazing. And I'm so proud of them and the things that they've accomplished and the things that they're doing in life. And youth pastors, man, I tell you, there's no greater feeling than knowing that I got a group of students that I can call to come do a camp like this. And they're going to help you guys enter the presence of God. And that's the thing, like, I didn't teach them that. It was just, they went after it. I helped cultivate it in every way that I could. I helped speak in their life anytime that I got the opportunity. But God did something inside of them. And God just happened to take somebody like me. And I was blessed enough to be able to speak in their lives here and there. So camp is a place where we remember. So we remember moments like this where God not only changes your life, but he changes people's life around you. We go there to remember. And so I would encourage you guys tonight, man, start making memories tonight. Start doing incredible things tonight. Let it start right here. Maybe tonight, what you do tonight is just you come back to the Lord. You find the presence of God once again. Or maybe some of us are in here tonight. This is the first time we ever experienced the presence of God. And this is the first time that we've ever been given an opportunity, or let me rephrase that, we've ever taken the opportunity to give our life to Jesus. Because I know a lot of these leaders in this room, these youth pastors, and they want nothing more than you guys to know Jesus. And so tonight, man, this is your opportunity. This is your chance, and I'm going to give you guys that moment here in just a little bit. This could be the moment where everything changes. So again, we go back to camp because it's a place to remember. We have our Bethel moments because it's a place to remember. Number 2 tonight, we come back to camp because it's a place of revelation, where God reveals things to us, where God speaks to us in an incredible way. Genesis chapter 32, we hear from Jacob again where he says this. He has this reminding moment. He says, I'm not worthy of all the unfailing love and all the faithfulness that you have shown to me, your servant. You ever had one of those moments like, man, I don't know why God loves me, but he does, and it's awesome. It's the greatest feeling ever. And that's revealed to us at places like this. Or maybe, again, some of us in here tonight, and we realize that, man, this is a place that I get the opportunity to really just kind of think what I want to do with my life. Because, again, I'm not trying to put pressure on any of your seniors, but maybe some of you seniors are in here, and you're trying to figure out what you want to do, where you want to go. Lord, what do you want me to do? And I'm here to I think sometimes we make that question way too complicated, when it's simply just saying, God, I trust you, and I know you're going to walk with me through this. It's not like I have to have some like neon light moment, I need to do this in life. No, it's just simply just trusting God every single day, walking by faith every single day, and being reminded every single day of his unfailing love. No matter what I decide to do, God, I may pursue this career in life, I may pursue this direction right here, but it's your unfailing love that's going to sustain me all throughout my life, no matter what happens. So Bethel is a place, our camp is a place of revelation where God speaks to us. And so I don't know what God is speaking to you tonight, but I want you to understand, yes, the presence of God is in this place, but maybe some of us will have the realization tonight that it's just not here. I love this quote from Stephen Furtick. The presence of God, the evidence of the presence of God is not that it's around you, but inside of you. The presence of God is with us wherever we go, and it's inside of us. So when you leave this place this week, know that you can take the presence of God with you. When you leave this place this week, know that your youth ministry could be the greatest place in the entire world, but you have to be the one to start it. I think so many times we look to our youth pastor, entertain me, do something cool, do something fun. Guess what? It's your youth ministry too, so do something with it. It's a place of revelation. Or maybe some of us tonight, we realize that we've been walking in bitterness. We've been walking in hate. And we just absolutely hate everyone around us, our family, our friends. It's just like absolute animosity that just resides in our life, and we can't get rid of it. Students, I'm here to tell you tonight that to deal with hate, to deal with bitterness, to deal with the feeling of being wronged, you handle it with one simple word. It's forgiveness. And forgiveness, listen to me, how would I ever forgive somebody who did this to me? How could I ever forgive somebody that said something like this about me? Forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. And understand this, forgiveness may not change our past, but it brightens our future. And some of us, we need a little bit of a brighter future tonight. So maybe that's the revelation that you're receiving tonight, that, man, if things are going to change in my life, I need to start forgiving people. I need to quit being bitter and start getting better. I need to get to the point where I realize that forgiveness is going to help me in so many ways. I love this quote right here, and some of us have heard it so many times. But unforgiveness, bitterness that resides in our hearts is like drinking a cup of poison and expecting the other person to die. Some of you are like, what does that mean? When we harbor unforgiveness and bitterness in our hearts, it's literally killing us inside. And we don't even know it. So I don't know what you're going through. It may be a family member. It may be a friend. It may be somebody you're sitting next to tonight. That would be really awkward. I don't like you, but I'm sitting next to you. But forgiveness, man, that may be our revelation tonight. It's a place of revelation. It's a place where things can change. But we have to be willing to make that change. Again, number one, coming back to camp. We come back to camp. We go to a place like this because it's like our Bethel. And we come back to this place because, number one, it's a place to remember. Number two, it's a place of revelation where God reveals things to us. And we come back to places like this because it's a place to respond. God, if you move, I'll move. And he will move. But it's up to you. It's a place to respond. I want to take you guys to verse 35 for just a moment. Or, excuse me, chapter 35 for just a moment. And we go later on in life with Jacob. Things have changed for him. He has a family now. Things are different for him. And really, to a point, just absolutely going well. And we pick it up right here in chapter 35 where it says, we are now going to Bethel, and I will build an altar to God who answered my prayers. When I was in distress, he has been with me wherever I have gone. Wow. What a moment of just wisdom right there. You take the old Jacob, the liar, the cheat, the conniver, the stealer, jaded relationship with his family. I mean, you pick it. That was him. And God spoke to him in a moment. And then he went through a series of changes and made right decisions. And all of a sudden, he goes back to the very place where it all began. He goes back to the very place where he discovered the presence of God. And God told him, back in chapter 28, I will send you back to this place one day. And maybe some of us are in here tonight, and maybe I don't know if God ever spoke that to you, but you know you're back here because you're back here for a reason. And God wants to do something inside of you, and now you need to accept that. So let this be a place of response. Let this be a place where we realize that we need God more than ever. And change can take place tonight, but we have to be willing to move. That's what response is. I say something, and we respond. Sometimes the response can be negative, like, I'm not going to do a thing you say. But sometimes the response needs to be, okay, I don't know what's going on, but I know things need to change in my life, so I'm going to try something different. And see, students, that's why we say yes to Jesus. Because the way we're living our life right now, for those of us that don't know the Lord, if you're truly being honest with yourself, the way you are living your life right now just is not working, okay? Can I be real for a moment? It's not working. And you've tried everything that you know to do, and it's still not working. You tried different groups of friends. You tried going to different places. You tried doing different things. You get addicted to different things, but it's not working. It may subdue the pain for a little bit, but the pain comes back every single time. But things can change. And when we say yes to Jesus, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but we start the foundation now, and we build on it. And we're a lot further along than we were before. And students, for those of you tonight that life is just absolute turmoil, absolute chaos, and you came here to get away from it all, or maybe you've got to a place right now where you're just like, dude, I have nothing else. I got nothing left. And the great thing about this, some of us, we feel like we've hit rock bottom. Why was that great? Because when you hit rock bottom, the only direction to go is up after that. That's the only option you have, and that's a pretty good option. So tonight, we're going to turn this into a place of response. When preachers like us, when we do altar calls, it's a time to respond. It's a time that we take to realize that I need to do something different in my life. So tonight, it's going to be pretty simple. Tonight, we set the tone for the entire week. Tonight, we admit that we need Jesus more than ever. Whether we are meeting Jesus for the very first time tonight, or we've been away from him for a while and we need to come back. But tonight, we set the tone. Tonight, we make the decision that we want things to be different in our life. We want things to be better. That doesn't mean easy, but better. And the things that we truly want most in life, we realize that, hey, things are going to have to change. I'm going to have to live life a little bit differently, and it may be hard at times. But even in those hard moments, I will have leaders and I will have friends in a room like this that can walk me through it. See, students, that's the beauty of when you go back to your church after this week is all done. Man, you'll go back with family. You'll go back with stronger relationships. But it has to start somewhere. And the most important relationship that we can ever have is a relationship with Jesus Christ. It's got to start there.